Hi, my name is Jen and welcome to Pilates in a Flash. This is a 30-minute intense Pilates workout. Today we're going to focus on our abs, some back, some tricep, and our glutes. So a little bit of a mixture of things. Our one big move that we're going to work up to is the 100, which in classical Pilates is actually your warm-up, but is a pretty challenging move. So I'm going to save that one for the end. Today's props, you're going to need some cans or some light weights. 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound weights are fantastic. If you don't have hand weights, you can always use, I'm using red beans, 2 cans of red beans. Make sure your space is safe and always go at your own pace. So I'm going to give you a second to go get some cans if you have them, or go grab your hand weights, okay? All right. So before we get started, I want you to come on to your knees. Actually, I'll go facing you first. Onto our knees, sitting up nice and tall, okay? Take a nice deep breath in and out. One more time. Nice deep breath in and out. We're going to cross our arms across our chest, breathing in, moving our rib cage one direction, and then back to the center. Breathing in, moving our rib cage the opposite direction, and back to center. I'm going to do this one more time each side. Breathing in, trying to think about breathing backwards into your ribs, filling up the back. Opposite direction, breathing in backwards, letting the air out of the mouth with a nice big sigh. Right arm comes up towards the ceiling. Shoulders away from the ears. You're just going to lean over and do a small side bend. You're going to think about that ear coming down towards the shoulder and the ribs moving up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to switch sides. So left arm comes up, shoulders stay down. That right ear can tilt down towards the right shoulder. Breathing in, leaning over, and thinking about the rib cage coming up and arcing over with your arm. Okay, one more each side. Arm comes up and over. Breathe in. And then opposite side, left arm comes up, shoulders stay down, over, ribs come up and over. Great. We're going to lay down on our back. We're going to have our can of beans handy here. Okay. So laying down on our back, we're going to place our feet on the ground. Our knees are bent. We're going to settle our spine onto the mat so that our spine is in neutral, so that our ribs are down. We're feeling for all our ribs down on the mat. We're feeling for a little curve in our low back and a nice level pelvis. Okay, from here, all you're going to do is just move your pelvis forward and backward. So we're thinking about tilting the pelvis as it was a bowl of soup. So we're just going to tilt it forward and backwards. Or thinking about it from the tailbone or pubic bone, just pushing the tailbone down towards the mat a little and then moving the tailbone up towards the ceiling. What you want to not do, you don't want to really focus on your back to move your pelvis. You want to think possibly the low belly working a little bit to move that pelvis. And that your low back is moving because your pelvis is moving, right? So we're not smushing our low back down to really move that pelvis. So we're just going to do a couple more here. Just gentle moving and tilting of the pelvis for 3, for 2, for 1. Okay, I want you to level the pelvis, bring your right leg up into tabletop, left leg up into tabletop. I want you to breathe in, fill up the rib cage. Try to soften that breastbone down, getting all those ribs back down on the mat, making sure you have a little curve in the low back and that pelvis is level. So I'm going to think about tipping my tailbone away from me towards the ground to level out my pelvis, and then pull down the low belly and the belly button to spine. We're going to drop our toes down towards our bum, and we're going to slowly lift our shins up towards the ceiling. We're going to dangle our toes down towards our bum and slowly lift our toes up towards the ceiling, back into tabletop, okay? We're going to continue this, and we're going to imagine that we have a heavy weight on our shins as we lift our legs back up into tabletop. All the while, those ribs stay down on the mat, so I'm starting to feel some connection to my upper abs, obliques, okay? Pulling my belly button down towards my spine a little to support the curve of my low back, and my pelvis is not moving. It's just moving at the knees right now. So envisioning there's a heavy weight on my shins as I lift my shins up towards the ceiling one more time. And pausing here. I'm going to flex my feet and point my feet, just moving through the ankles a little bit, waking them up, flexing and pointing, okay? We're going to go for 3, for 2, for 1, okay? We're going to flex those feet nice and hard. We're going to send that right heel away from the body down towards the mat and then back up. We're going to send the left heel down towards the mat and back up. If going all the way towards the mat is too hard, too much distance for you, then don't go all the way towards the mat. If you're feeling a gripping sensation in your low back, then don't go all the way towards the mat. Make it a really small movement and think about the low belly helping you lower that thigh bone as well as keep that pelvis nice and still as we move the legs towards the mat. We're going to go for 3. We're going to go for 2. Flexing the feet nice and hard. 1 more. Excellent. From here, we're going to send that right leg away, nice and strong, then bring it back. Send the left leg away, nice and strong. So just extending the legs, okay? If, again, it's too far for you, you just do a mini extension. You only go as far as your body can maintain that neutral position, so those ribs down, and that pelvis nice and level, okay? Feel for that tailbone starting to lift off the mat at any point, and try to keep it anchored to the mat, all the while pulling the belly button and the low belly down. We're going to go for 3, for 2, for 1. Okay, tiny break. Feet come down onto the mat. I'm going to take my legs nice and wide. I'm just going to windshield wiper my legs. So just moving my thigh bones really wide as my mat, and not so much through the pelvis. Okay, so the pelvis stays a little bit still here. So we're not doing a big twist in our low back. We're just going to go for 3, for 2, for 1. Excellent. Sending those legs out nice and long in front of you. We're going to bring our hands behind our head, just watching out for those cans or those weights right now. Eyes on breastbone, tuck the chin in before you even lift your head up. So I want you to actually nod your chin so that you're looking at your breastbone and you're giving yourself a beautiful double chin here. And then you're going to do a nice little curl to come up, and then we uncurl. So it's fairly small, this motion, this ab curl. And the focus is trying to keep everything nice and tucked in so that on the way up, you feel your upper abs working to curl your upper spine. And then control it on the way down. On the way down, you want to focus on those bottom ribs not popping up off the mat. So my abs don't get a break on the way down. I actually have to work fairly hard to keep those low ribs from rising up, okay? Those ribs stay down, the pelvis stays nice and level. We're going to go for 4. Breathe out of your mouth. You can see your pubic bone, so make sure that pubic bone isn't flicking in towards your breastbone. That pelvis doesn't move. We got 2 more. Low belly holds that pelvis still. Bum's not working too hard here. Relax your glutes. 1 more. Excellent. We're going to start to bring that leg into tabletop as we curl on up, and then we lower on down. We do that ab curl, leg into tabletop. Okay, lower on down. So we're just alternating the leg into tabletop, feeling for any movement in our pelvis. Making sure that our pelvis doesn't come along with our leg, right? So that tailbone stays down on the mat as we move that thigh bone into that tabletop position. We're just going to do 1 more right here. Then we're going to add the oblique twist, okay? So now we bring the leg up into tabletop. We come into ab curl, pause. We move our breastbone towards the right or our right leg, and then we center back up, uncurl, put the leg back down. We bring our left leg up, we curl up before we move. Then we move the breastbone to the left. We uncurl and go back down. Good. We're going to keep going. So leg into tabletop, curl up, breastbone moves, tailbone doesn't. Okay. Uncurl, put the leg back down. Left leg comes up, we come into that ab curl. Eyes still on the breastbone. Thinking about pushing your breastbone back behind you. Do that little curl and that little twist, uncurl, come back down. We're gonna do 4 more. Breathing out of the mouth. 3. Okay, 2. 1 more. Tiny little break. I'm gonna bring my legs back up so my knees are bent and my feet are on the mat. I'm gonna grab the little weights here. My hands are gonna come up towards the ceiling. I'm just gonna reach my weights up towards the ceiling. So I'm feeling for my shoulder blades moving away from my spine. And then I'm just gonna move my arm bones down towards the mat and feel for my shoulder blades coming towards my spine. So I'm just literally moving my shoulder blades by reaching my arm bones up towards the ceiling and away from the ceiling. My arms don't bend, and the space between my hands and my arms don't change. My shoulders are away from my ears, okay? So we're just trying to warm up our shoulder blades here and our shoulders, but our spine is still in neutral. So being mindful that my pelvis is level, my ribs are down on the mat. I'm gonna bend my elbows, okay? And I'm gonna open my arms up a little, and then I'm gonna close them. I'm gonna open them on up, and I'm gonna close them, okay? We're gonna go for 2 more. We're gonna go for 1 more right here, okay? And then we're gonna bring our hands up to center, legs into tabletop. Pause. So I want you to pause here and make sure that your knees are not closing in on your breastbone. Your knees are over your hips. We have a little curve in the low back, and my legs are fairly level, okay? I'm gonna open my arms up a little, and I'm gonna close them. Just holding my legs in tabletop to start. We're opening and closing the arms, exhaling as those arms come back to center, all the while our spine is in neutral and our pelvis is nice and level, so nothing is moving except the arm bones. Now, I'm going to flex my feet so my hands come back to center, flex the feet. I'm going to draw my right foot away as I open up both arms. Come back to center. I'm going to draw my left heel away, open up both arms, come back to center. What you're feeling for are your ribs starting to pop off the mat. I need to make sure that my ribs between my shoulder blades and those lower ribs stay down on the mat. So I have to engage my upper abs, my obliques to help anchor my rib cage down on the mat. All the while my low belly is working super hard to keep that pelvis nice and still. So opening, closing. Good. Elbows stay bent, arm bones moving, that one thigh bone moving. When you send the right leg away, you get heavy in the left side of the pelvis. When you send the left thigh bone away, you get heavy in the right. Good. Let's do 4 more. We'll go for 3. We'll go for 2. Breastbone is not shooting towards the sky. 1 more. Excellent. Tiny little break, okay? We're going to flip over onto our right side. We're going to extend our right leg out and our left leg out. So we're going double, both legs nice and straight. I'm just going to move these guys out of the way so you can see. Eyes up, shoulders away from the ears. So long legs, both of them long, means it's a little more unstable for the upper body. If you're wiggling and wobbling all over the place, just bend the bottom leg for more stability, okay? So to hold both legs long means you need to actually engage more through your core, so pulling the belly in, okay? Keeping a tiny curve in the low back so we're not tucking under. And we're thinking my breastbone or the front of my ribs needs to move to the back of my ribs. So I'm not jetting my chest out here, okay? Hand, that top hand can be right in front of you, right on the high fingertips to help you balance. All I want you to do to start is just lift the top leg and lower it, okay? Lifting the top leg, lowering the top leg, lifting and lowering. So we're not going so high that our hips move. You need to feel for that top hip. At no point does your oblique sink down onto the mat and your hips rock to lift your leg. So you need to feel for that oblique that's touching the mat needs to stay lifted the whole time you lift your opposite leg. So this leg lifts, top leg lifts, oblique against the mat needs to stay up and lifted so that the hip doesn't rock, okay? So hips stay nice and still. I'm feeling for side bum and hip as I lift my leg away from the midline. Now, my left leg, I need to make sure that it doesn't open at the top. So my toes and my knees are facing you or the camera, not opening as I lift. So my knees aren't opening and drifting towards the ceiling, okay? So I need to kind of think about this side. This side's a little funny for me. So I need to think my toes and my knees face away from me, not towards the ceiling. Okay, we're gonna go 5. We're gonna go 4. Little space between the oblique and the mat. 3, low belly in. 2, 1. Hold it up. Little pulse, 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 pulse. Bottom leg can be strong, okay? Lift the quad, lift the kneecaps, point the toes, both of them. 8, 7, 6, 5, halfway down and up for 3, 2, 1. Tiny little break. Good. From here, we're gonna lift the foot up. We're gonna flex that foot, and we're just gonna do a thigh bone rotation. So I want you to rotate the knee and the foot and the thigh bone up towards the ceiling, then rotate it down towards the mat. The range of motion might be very small. That is fine, but I want you to think I can only go as far in each direction that my hips do not shift to make it feel like I'm going further, right? So when I open that knee and that foot and that thigh bone towards the ceiling, I'm not falling backwards. I'm staying stacked. Okay, as I rotate my toes and my knee and my thigh bone towards the ground, I'm not rolling forwards. I stay stacked. We're going to go for 4, rotate, 3, rotate, flex the foot, 2, 1. Excellent. Tiny pause. Last thing we're going to do on this side, you're going to lift that leg back up. I'm going to point my toes, and I'm going to circle my leg. Bottom leg is super strong. Top leg is circling small. The bigger the circle, the more control you need over your pelvis and your upper body. Okay, so I keep my circles nice and small, and then gradually I make them a little bit bigger. As that leg comes towards the back line of the body, I want you to think about squeezing your hamstring and your glute, your big glute max, to bring the leg back. At no point does my pelvis shift forward and my back change shape, okay? We're going to go 2 more this direction and 1 more, and then you're going to switch. So whatever direction you didn't go, you just switch the direction. Okay? We think upper body stays nice and still and strong, continually pulling in that low belly. Oblique is off the mat, bottom leg is nice and strong. We're going to go for 4, 3, hamstring glute to bring that leg back, 2, 1. Good. Excellent. Coming back on our back, okay? So we're going to do the opposite leg in just a second. Legs are going to come back up into tabletop. Hands behind the head. We're going to nod the chin and do an ab curl and then uncurl, okay? I want to level my pelvis, making sure my tailbone is not kind of shooting towards the sky. I've got a little curve in my low back. So my low belly is on. My belly button is pulling towards the spine a little, and I'm keeping my eyes on my breastbone as I curl up. So my upper abs are working to put my spine, my upper spine, into a nice flexion. Okay, elbows can stay wide. We're going to go for 4. We're going to go for 3. We're going to go for 2. 1. Hold it up. Okay, we're going to do a small rotation. So we're doing a small rotation for obliques. I'm keeping that ab curl. I'm keeping that small curve in my low back. And I'm keeping that pelvis nice and level. All the while, I'm just moving my breastbone or my rib cage. At no point do my arms come across my sight line. My arms are only moving because my rib cage is moving. Okay? So elbows stay still, shoulders don't reach, arm bones stay in the socket. We're going for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Lower it down. Last little addition, then we're going to do the opposite leg. So you're going to bring those legs back up into tabletop. You're going to come into ab curl. You're going to extend your right leg away and then bring it back. You're going to extend your left leg away and then bring it back, okay? Extending, extending. My pelvis stays really still. I'm heavy through my pubic bone. My ribs stay on the mat, my lower ribs. And then I keep my eyes on my breastbone, so I keep curling from the top. All the while, pull that belly down towards the spine. For 4, for 3, we're gonna do doubles. 2, 1, both legs extend, and then come back. Extend, and come back. For 3, for 2, for 1. Excellent. Uncurl, feet down. You're just going to swing your legs or come onto your side, sit on up slowly. Okay, catch your breath. We're going to come onto our knees and we're going to go around to the opposite side. So I'm going to come down to my left side, but I'm going to raise my right leg. Both legs are nice and long. Try to keep your eyes looking forward, not down, so that your upper body is nice and straight, right? So your spine is not curled like a question mark. And you want to think, are my ears kind of like back over my shoulders? Which for me, the answer is no. I like to hang my head forward. And so that's really hard on the back of the neck. So you want to kind of tuck everything back and in to save that neck, okay? So hips are nice and stacked. That upper hand is up on the tippies, the tips of the fingers so that you can balance yourself. The oblique is off the mat. At no point do you raise your leg and smush that oblique back down onto the mat, right? So we're not losing it. Try not to lose it. It's a little more balanced here. Okay, low belly in. We think side bum and hip. Good. We're going to keep lifting and lowering for about 5 more, and then we're going to do some pulses. So lift and lower, making sure the knees and the toes face directly away from you. That thigh bone doesn't open up. Good. We're going to lift it up and lower it. Now we're going to pulse. So we come halfway down and up. The bottom leg is working. The top leg is working. Okay. Quads are on to lift the kneecaps. Think really long, strong legs. Belly button pulls in towards the spine. Halfway down and up. Halfway down and up. Halfway down and up. Halfway down and up. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Flex the foot. Rotate the thigh bone down towards the mat. The knees, the toes follow. Rotate it up towards the mat. So for me, it's a really small range of motion. It's not big. You're thinking the top of the thigh bone moves. My hips do not move at any point. So I'm rotating my leg from the top of the thigh bone. And I'm feeling for side bum, inner thigh, back bum. Quads working, calf is working, shin is working, okay? The whole leg is working here. Rotate it for 4, for 3. One direction might feel easier than the other. 2, 1. Good. From here, point your toes, small circles, almost done on this side. So circle, circle, circle. Oh my goodness. Think bum, hamstring to bring that leg back and around. We're going to do 3 more. Bottom leg is strong. I've forgotten about mine. 2, 1. Okay, opposite direction. Thinking I'm trying to keep my hips as still as possible as that thigh bone rotates. So slowing down the circle really helps you feel for any movement in your pelvis. 1 more, make it slow. That's better. Okay, bend the knees. Hey, bring them in. I'm going to flip over onto my stomach, and I'm going to come into child's pose just for a second, just so that my bum gets just a tiny bit of a stretch here. Okay, breathing in and up. I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to have my weights near my arms, near my hips and my arms, so I can grab onto them. So I'm gonna lay down onto my belly, putting my nose onto the ground, my forehead onto the ground. All right, from here, I'm gonna anchor through my pubic bone and push my tailbone down towards my heels so I don't compress my low back. I'm gonna float my face up away from the mat and then lower it on down. I'm not gonna push into my hands. I'm gonna think shoulders away from the ears, lift my head, my neck, my breastbone up and lower on down. Breathing in, pulling the belly button away from the mat and keeping my pelvis nice and strong, pushing into the mat. So we're doing a little mini back extension. It's small. My eyes can drift up towards the top of the mat and then I'm going to lower down. I need to think nice long spine, okay? Nice long spine from the top of my head to my tailbone. We're going to do 3 more. It should feel gentle. It should not feel hard. You should not feel compression in your low back. You can open your legs a little bit wider. Sometimes that definitely helps. And really concentrate on keeping that tailbone down towards your heels. 1 more up right here. Good. Your forehead's going to come down on the mat. You're going to grab your weights. Your palms face the ceiling. Your shoulders go away from your ears. So shoulders really move away from the ears. I stay heavy in my pubic bone. My bum is on. My legs are on. I'm going to lift those weights up towards the ceiling with a really straight arm. And I'm going to lower them down. I'm going to lift them on up. And I'm going to lower them on down. Lift and lower. Shoulders down. Lift and lower. So we're not aiming for our upper traps or neck. We're aiming for back of shoulder, tricep, even into your lats. So try to feel for the back muscles, a big sheath of muscle in your back helping you lift these really straight arms. And the arms are kind of close towards your hips. So my arms are a little bit wide there. I'm actually going to move them in a little bit closer. Lift and lower for 5. For 4, shoulders away from the ears, straighten those elbows. 3, 2, 1 more. Good. Hold it up if you can. We're going to do a small pulse. So pulse, 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 pulse. Arms are straight, halfway down and up. 8, 7, 6, 5. Shoulders away from the ears. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Okay. Pushing up. Good work. We're going to come and we're going to lay back on our back. Curl on down. I'm going to plant my feet into the mat and I'm just going to do a little bit of bridging, okay? So my arms are down by my side, nice and strong. I'm going to push my pelvis up towards the ceiling, pushing into my feet, then lowering on down. Push into those feet, lift the pelvis on up, and then lower on down. We're just going to go for 8. I'm trying to feel for hamstrings and glutes. For 7, anchoring into my shoulders and my feet. 6, you can start to push the back of the arms into the mat as well. 5, 4, low belly in. 3, 2, 1 more. Lift, pause. Do a little tiny pulse up and down, halfway up and down. You need to feel for that pelvis. That pelvis isn't tilting. So try to make sure you keep that pelvis as neutral as possible, which might mean you don't come up as high as you normally do. Good. We're going to go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower on down. Good. Okay. From here, our legs come back up into tabletop. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our hands behind our head, but we're going to start to remove the hand. If removing the hand away from your head is too much on your neck, you keep the hand there, or you take a break, or you just put your whole body down and you leave your legs in tabletop. Always be mindful that you should not feel pain in your neck or your lower back, okay, or anywhere really, just your abs should be on fire. So your hands are going to come back behind the head, legs are in tabletop. We're going to breathe in, we're going to do that ab curl. Pause. So we're doing that ab curl and our eyes are on our breastbone. And I'm going to level out my pelvis here because as soon as I did my ab curl, I started to move my knees towards my breastbone. So my knees go back over my hips and then my pubic bone goes away from me so that my tailbone is on the mat. Now I'm going to hold that there. I'm going to extend my left leg and then my right leg. I'm going to pause. I'm going to bring my right arm out and my left arm out. Pause for 3, for 2, for 1. Hands come back, knees bend, uncurl. Good. Okay, we're going to add on. So I'm going to breathe in. Legs come up in the tabletop. Level the pelvis. Eyes on breastbone. Do that ab curl. Come on up. I'm going to extend my right leg. I'm going to extend my left leg. I'm going to bring my right arm out and my left arm out. Good. From here, I'm just going to bring my arms up and down towards the mat. My legs don't move. My eyes continue to be on that breastbone and my pelvis stays level. At no point do I lose that little curve in my low back. For 1, okay, bring those hands back behind the head. Uncurl, legs come into tabletop, feet come down. So the 100 has a staccato breathing. Ha, 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 ha. I'm not going to do the staccato breathing, okay? So I find it makes me dizzy, so I'm not going to do it. You can do it if you're used to doing it, absolutely, but we're just going to pump our arms as hard as we can, kind of up and down towards the mat while our legs stay nice and still and we're in that ab curl. If it's all too much for you, you do not need to do it, okay? So you listen to your body, hands behind the head, ab curl on, level the pelvis, eyes on that breastbone, bring those legs into tabletop. I'm going to extend my right leg and my left leg, okay? My arms are going to be nice and strong beside me, and I'm going to keep that ab curl. I'm just going to pump my arms up and down, up and down, up and down. If you need to breathe with it, you absolutely can. You inhale, inhale, inhale. Exhale, exhale, exhale. So we keep going, okay? Our arms are, triceps are on, shoulders away from the ears. We're only going to hold here for about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep curling from the upper spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs bend. We come on down. Good work. We bring those legs nice and wide. I'm just going to do a little windshield wiper. Then I'm going to do bridge again to kind of help release my hip flexors. So I'm going to scooch my feet back to being fairly close together, thigh bones in line with those hips. I'm going to push into my feet. I'm going to bring my pelvis up away from the ground, and I'm going to lower it on down. Push into my feet, bring my pelvis up, and lower on down. I'm going to lift and lower for 8, for 7, feeling for hamstrings and glutes. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. I'm going to bring my hands up towards the ceiling, clasp my hands together. I'm going to rock my ribs over to the right, back to center, rock my ribs over to the left. So I'm only going as far as my hands stay together, my arms stay straight. My elbows don't bend and my arms don't reach. I'm just moving my rib cage. My hips and knees stay nice and still. Breathe in and out. Arms come down. I'm going to swing over to my right side. I'm going to come on up onto my knees. I'm going to say thank you. We are all done. Thank you so much for joining me today for Pilates in a Flash. I will definitely see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.